Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in, just imagine you're breathing in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just feel that any tension, any stress is just leaving your body now. And if your eyes aren't already closed, as you breathe in that sense of relaxation. And on the out breath, just relax those eyelids. And if you haven't already, just close your eyes now. And continue to breathe in that feeling of calm and relaxation as you go deeper and deeper relaxed with each and every breath. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to create, using the power of your imagination, the most magnificent garden. I want you to imagine that you're no longer where you are, but you are now in the garden. And I want you to imagine that somewhere in this magnificent garden is the most relaxing chair that you can ever imagine. Perhaps this chair looks inappropriate, like it shouldn't be in this garden, but just use the power of your imagination to imagine the most relaxing, comfortable chair. Perhaps it's sunny in this magnificent garden. And I want you to climb into that chair, allowing your body to sink into that chair, feeling deeply, deeply relaxed in that chair. Perhaps the sun is shining in this magnificent garden, and I want you to just imagine that you can feel the warmth of the sun on your skin. And as you breathe in that warm feeling of relaxation, and as you exhale, continue to feel that any tension, stress, or anxiety is just leaving your body. That's right. Continue to focus on how increasingly relaxed your muscles are becoming in that chair. Feel the weight of your arms and legs in that chair. Breathe in that fresh, clean air coming in from the magnificent garden, perhaps detecting a subtle fragrance, perhaps a smell from the flowers, perhaps even a rose in that garden. And I want you to, as you breathe in that fragrant, clean, fresh air in that garden, feel that breath by breath you're going deeper and deeper relaxed. And I want you to imagine, as I count down from 10 to 1, that you're getting so deeply relaxed in that chair that you'll imagine drifting off into a deep, deep, dreamlike state. And let's start now. 10, taking a deep breath in, getting a sense of increasing levels of relaxation, starting from your nostrils, going into your lungs, taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. 9, another deep breath in as you feel the muscles around your forehead, eyelids, eyebrows, just loosening and letting go of any and all tension. Now, that's it, deeper and deeper relaxed. 8, feeling as if any tension around your jaw, your cheeks, or your neck, again, is releasing that tension, feeling like the tension is melting away like snow under the sunshine. 7, deeper and deeper relaxed now as you focus on any tension around your shoulders. Become aware of it. Breathe in this feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just release that tension, feeling that your shoulders are letting go now deeply of any tension whatsoever. 6, allow that feeling of relaxation now to go into your arms, all the way down to the tips of your fingers. That's it, deeper and deeper relaxed. 5. Halfway now to the deepest levels of relaxation, going deeper and deeper relaxed in this garden, in that chair. Sunshine on your face, smelling the fragrant smell of any flowers in that magnificent garden. 4. Another 10% deeper relaxed as you can feel that relaxation going into your lungs, and even your internal organs like your heart, your stomach, your diaphragm are all relaxing. Now that's it, deeper and deeper relaxed. 3. Feeling that relaxation going into your legs, all the way deep down into your toes. That's it, feeling like your legs are loose, heavy. That's it. 2. Deeper and deeper relaxed, feeling that you're about to drift off into a deep sleep. The deepest levels of sleep where you're able to vividly dream. That's it. 1 and 0, imagining that you're just drifting off into a deep, deep, deep dreamlike sleep. And I want you to imagine that you're still in the garden, but it's now the dream version of you in that garden, seeing yourself fast asleep in that chair, in that magnificent garden. And it's only now that your attention is on the garden that you're able to appreciate just how magnificent this garden is. I want you to get an overall sense of just the variety of all the different flowers, the trees, the lawns, all landscaped. This is an impressive garden. And there's a few things in this garden that seem a bit strange. And it's worth mentioning that in this garden, somewhere in the garden, is a towering lighthouse. And the lighthouse is normally thought to be on the coast near cliffs, perhaps surrounded by waves and rocks. But this lighthouse is right in the middle of this magnificent garden. And coming out of the door of this towering lighthouse is a very large sumo wrestler. Only this sumo wrestler isn't dressed with the normal bandages that surround his waist. He's covered only by a thin pink cable. You're slightly surprised at this large sumo wrestler going out of this towering lighthouse dressed in the way that he is, with this pink cable covering his private parts. And yet you continue to look around the magnificent garden, and you notice a very shiny golden watch. The large sumo wrestler sees this golden stopwatch, and as he goes to pick it up, his enormous mass, his body weight, topples him over, and he falls down, holding that gold stopwatch. And there seems to be a sense of the smell drifting from nearby roses that awakens this sumo wrestler, at which point he gets up from his temporary fall and then notices, as you notice, a path leading off into the distance. But the strange thing about this path is that the path is bordered by diamonds, shiny diamonds, all the way down the path. And it's not important that you become aware or notice all of these details. For now, just pay attention to this magnificent garden. And I wonder whether or not your mind can imagine that your mind itself is a magnificent garden. And I want you to imagine that thoughts are the equivalent of planting seeds in the garden. And as you look around this magnificent garden, you notice the flowers, the trees, everything looks incredible. But also it's possible that if this garden wasn't tended, if it wasn't well maintained, this garden could perhaps look not magnificent, but be filled with weeds and overgrown trees. I want you to get a sense that your mind is a garden. I want you to get a sense that as you sow seeds of ideas in your mind, you are cultivating your own garden. And I want you to think that the more times you think of positive, purposeful, inspiring things, the more you are planting seeds of incredible flowers, majestic trees in this garden. But something in particular catches your attention in this particular garden, and that is a magnificent rose. I don't know if the rose that you notice will be red, white, or pink, but as you notice that rose, I want you to direct all of your attention onto that rose. And as you do so, notice that the more that your attention is on that rose, the more you're able to screen out everything else happening in this magnificent garden. Perhaps the sounds of birds. You don't notice them because your attention is focused not just on the rose, but the very heart of the rose. And every time your mind gets distracted with a different sound, or you become aware of the lighthouse or the sumo wrestler, just redirect your attention back to that rose. And in some cultures, they would call this technique mindfulness, but you could just call it paying attention to what you want to focus on. And as you do so, you become increasingly aware of the beauty of the rose, the delicateness of the petals, the increasing awareness of the scent coming from the rose, the intricate layers of petals upon petals, the texture, perhaps, of the rose itself, all the different colours. At first you thought it was just a single colour, but as you really pay attention to the rose, you notice that that single colour is infinite shades of different colours, all fused into one. And the more you focus, really focus on the heart of that rose, the easier it is to ignore everything else happening around you. And I wonder what would happen in your life if whatever was the most important priority for you at any moment in time became the heart of your rose, that you could screen off all distractions, anything that could interrupt your experience, and refocus on the very task at hand or the very experience that you're experiencing. Notice that everything could be that rose, but you can't pay attention to the rose and many other flowers at exactly the same time. And from this point onwards, just as you can sow seeds of ideas that grow in this magnificent garden, we're planting another seed of an idea that to experience the quality of your life enables and requires you to focus on one specific thing to appreciate the entirety of that thing. I want you to now look away from the rose and notice how much is going on in this magnificent garden. And in this garden, it's possible to notice everything that's magnificent, but you can also notice everything that isn't quite right. Perhaps there is a flower not quite in line with the other flowers. Maybe there is a tree that is overgrown. And I want you to appreciate that whenever you notice something that you could represent as being negative or unuseful, you have the ability to just think of the opposite. Think of something positive instead. That if something is in a particular place it shouldn't be, you could be grateful that the thing even exists. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to have the ability in your day-to-day life that if a thought comes up that isn't positive or useful in some way, that you could immediately switch that into something, perhaps even the opposite, that would make you feel good, grateful, appreciative, or strong in some way. And not too far from this magnificent garden is a lake. It's hidden perhaps by other trees and bushes, but there it is. And you've discovered this secret lake in this garden. And I want you to take some time to just look at the stillness of the water on this lake. And as you do so, notice that this is the perfect place to allow your imagination to dream big dreams of everything that you would want and desire and enjoy in your life. The stillness of the lake enables your thoughts to get lost in that lake, to give you the stillness of mind to create incredible future imaginations of the life that you desire. This could be the career that you want to pursue, the health and fitness that you would want to achieve, perhaps the meaningful connections and relationships that you would want to cultivate, the challenges that you can overcome, the fears that you face. I want you to get a sense as you get lost in the stillness of this secret lake that you're able to really envisage a future, a desirable future, a future that gives motivation, energy, passion, and enthusiasm. And then I want you to become increasingly aware that for some reason you're reminded of that towering lighthouse right in the middle of this magnificent, majestic garden. And what if this lighthouse wasn't a folly or an accident? What if this lighthouse represented what it represents to sailors and captains of ships navigating dangerous or rocky terrains? Wonder if this lighthouse could represent steering you away from what you don't want and guiding you towards what you do want. What if it was the case that this lighthouse represents a compelling purpose or future? Many people have described a calling, a guidance, taking them towards a particular direction in their life. And what if this lighthouse is giving you clues as to what your true calling, your purpose is? What if this lighthouse was shining the way to a future where you have an impact, not just on your life, but on the lives of other people? And I wonder what that purpose would be for you. Allow your imagination to envisage perhaps many different futures. And one of those futures will resonate at a different frequency from the rest, giving you clues, giving you an idea that perhaps this is your purpose. And notice that at the point where you feel aligned and connected with a meaningful purpose, how it unlocks increasing reserves of energy, enthusiasm, requiring less sleep and creating more energy and determination than you've ever had before. I wonder what that future would be like for you, allowing the lighthouse to shine a path to that meaningful purpose. Some people are afraid to set goals, but goals are just your intentions, something that you want for you, for other people, for your future. Things that you got a clue by looking in that secret lake. But a meaningful purpose is the thing that connects all of those goals together, giving your life drive and meaning. And you're reminded that there was a large sumo wrestler that came out of that lighthouse. And I want you to move towards where that sumo wrestler is as you become increasingly aware of this sumo wrestler. And I want you to think of how much effort, discipline, willpower it would have taken for this average human to become a sumo wrestler. Their dedication to eating in a certain way, training in a certain way, that it wasn't by accident that they got to become this sumo wrestler. It took dedication and constant areas of improvement. And for some people, they've heard of the phrase Kaizen, which simply represents constant and never-ending improvement, refinement. And I wonder what that would be like in your life. I wonder what areas of your life you could constantly refine, constantly improve. Because some people are afraid to pursue goals in case they fail. But the truly successful don't think of failure in the same way as everyday people. Failure is simply a feedback loop, giving them an opportunity to refine and improve, to get better. Because as a child, perhaps a toddler, there was a point in time when you didn't know how to read or to walk, and you needed to stumble across your words or fall over a few times before you got good at those things. In the same way that you intuitively knew the power of constant improvement and refinement as a child, you still have access to that knowledge right now. And I wonder, as you imagine looking into that secret lake, what the future would be like in certain key areas of your life where failure is no longer an option. It's simply a feedback loop to let you know which areas of your life you can fine-tune, refine, or improve in some way. What would that future be like for you? And then as you think back to that sumo wrestler, you notice that the most unique and unusual thing about him is that he's not dressed in the normal clothes that a sumo wrestler would wear. Instead of those big, thick white bandages, he has pink cable. The kind of cable that you would see in electric wires. And I want you to think, really think about the nature of a cable. I want you to think of a cable normally being comprised of many tiny, very thin strands of wire inside that overall cable. And I want you to think about the way in which you become disciplined and exert willpower. Sometimes discipline is doing the very thing that is hard to do. Even when your body and your intuition is telling you that you can't or you don't want to do it, still exerting that choice to do that thing, even though it's difficult, creates just a fine strand of wire. And combined, all these separate strands of wires suddenly create a thick cable that becomes tougher than an iron rod, but still has the flexibility to move and twist. And I wonder what areas of your life you could increase your level of willpower, discipline, where you exert the decisions as to what you do or don't do. Perhaps this could be in the area of certain choices that you make in terms of exercise or eating. Perhaps it's studying in a particular area that could accelerate your knowledge, competency, or skill. Perhaps it's using your time in a particular way so that your future self will be thankful for how you spent that time. Continue to think of all the different areas of your life that by exerting willpower, you could totally transform your life and where it heads. Perhaps part of this exerting willpower is simply by small acts of courage, doing the very thing that you are frightened of. It's fear that gets in the way of most people pursuing their dreams and their big goals. But in the same way that there is no failure, only feedback, what if fear was just a representation at you being at the edge of your comfort zone? And that by facing these mental monsters, you're able to exude confidence in these additional areas of your life, having the discipline to have these small acts of courage suddenly mean that these mental monsters disappear, and instead create a habit that can become powerful and strong at creating the ideal future? What if willpower is the essential virtue of a fully actualized life? Sometimes, perhaps, you could just give yourself moments of solitude to do nothing other than just sit with yourself in silence. Maybe that could increase your mental strength and ability to exert discipline. Perhaps you can create mantras in your own mind of all the characteristics or qualities that you would most want to experience or become, and simply repeating these in a particular tonality in your inner dialogue is you communicating with your deep subconscious mind about all the qualities you will have in the future, allowing that discipline to grow and get stronger, following the same law of momentum as the snowball effect, that although it starts off slow, it will eventually create such momentum that the discipline can enable you to achieve fantastic, incredible feats that would look impossible from the outside in, but to you, they become second nature. You remember that the sumo wrestler fell over at the point of picking up a golden stopwatch. But what if that golden stopwatch represents the equality of time for all of us? No matter how rich or how poor, how intelligent or not, everyone is granted the same hours each day. What if using that sense of purpose, planting those seeds of positive and inspiring ideas, creating that constant improvement in the areas of your life that was so important, and then having the discipline and willpower to follow through on the very actions required to maintain that progress? What if that could mean that you could distort the power of time so that you could achieve in just a few years what for other people would become an impossible fantasy? I wonder what it would be like for you to truly utilize time in the most effective way for you. What could you do to make the very most of your time? Perhaps your life is full of complications and distractions. What would it be like if you were able to just simplify your life, to have fewer things in it, but those things that are in it are more important, more motivating, fewer but more significant? What if, rather than reacting and firefighting to things as they happen, what if you were able to exert that willpower and discipline to spend your time on those priorities, the most important areas of your life? What if the golden stopwatch represented time being your most precious commodity? The fact that once that second, minute, or hour is gone, it will never be replenished. What if that helped you not just to focus on your priorities and your work or your career, but also to spend time on the areas of enjoyment, satisfaction, gratitude, those things that provide meaningful memories and experiences? What if the stopwatch also represented making the very best use of your time to have the balance that you're able to make progress towards your towering lighthouse purpose that you're being navigated towards, while simultaneously making the very most of the minutes that you have in the day? I want you to notice as you're back there in that garden, appreciating all these different components of this garden. And I want you to notice that same rose that same rose that you saw before. But notice that that is a single rose in a bunch of roses. And I wonder what would happen if you were to cut those roses and give them to different people that are important in your life. It would only take a few months and the roses would grow back, but you would be contributing to a special memory and moment to each person that you gave those fragrant roses to. What if that enabled you to cultivate the sacredness of each day, giving you a sense of contribution and the good feelings you get by having an impact on the emotional experience of other people? What if the quality of your life ultimately comes down to the quality of your contribution? And what if by elevating the lives of others, your life itself reaches its highest dimensions? I wonder what would happen if every day you decided to do something kind. Not because you have to, but because you want to. And yes, you would have an impact on other people's lives, but the good feeling it would give you would actually create such a feeling of abundance that more good things would happen to you. Perhaps in an average day, there are people in need, people that require help. And what if you use the resources, the mindset, the way of thinking, or perhaps your accomplishments so far to make an impact on those that aren't in the same position as you, less fortunate perhaps, that need the help that you're in a unique position to give? And I want you to think also of the power of friendships and relationships. Sometimes a truly rich relationship isn't what you take, but it's what you give. What if by giving more, you create stronger friendships, more powerful relationships than ever before, simply through the mindset of giving? And I want you to get an overall sense of just how much wisdom exists in this magical, magnificent garden. As you start thinking about the sumo wrestler that has now since walked down that path encrusted with shiny diamonds, what if that path represents your own path into the future? For some people, they have a belief, a perception, that they will be happy when they finally achieve some long-standing, far-off goal or ambition or dream. But I want you to notice that the path doesn't lead to a ginormous diamond miles and miles away. That the path itself has regular diamonds all along the way. What if this represents all of the magical memories and experiences that you can have throughout the path towards your meaningful purpose that the lighthouse is guiding you towards? What if it's teaching you to savor the gift of the present, to really live in the now? That same state of mindfulness that you achieve by looking into the heart of the rose, what if you could do that all the way through the path towards your meaningful purpose in your life? It's great to have a direction that you're moving towards, but that doesn't mean that you can't appreciate all of the joy, accomplishment, satisfaction, and appreciation on the pathway towards that future. Too many people will sacrifice happiness for achievement, believing that achievement or accomplishment in and of itself will provide the happiness. But that kind of happiness is fleeting, creating a desire to accumulate more. But what if What if you were able to enjoy the riches of the experience on the journey? What if you were able to savor the journey and live each day as if it was your last? Many people that have lived have only realized what they've truly missed while they're on their deathbed, looking back at their life, thinking that it's too late to enjoy the experience of their children or the moments that they could have experienced on the way by thinking too much about the past or spending too much time dreaming about the future. What if each of these diamonds represents an incredible moment in your life? And if you just pursued the journey that the pathway is leading to, you would miss out on all these diamonds on the way. And I want you to get an overall sense that happiness perhaps comes less from accomplishment and achievement and more so from gratitude. What if it came from really appreciating everything that you'd learned, everything that you'd realized, everything that, all the challenges that you'd overcome, all the fears that you'd faced, every moment becomes something to be truly grateful for. Each moment of gratitude is a diamond on the pathway towards your future, enabling you to really grow and cultivate your destiny. What if all of that gratitude was the fuel to enable you to keep traveling down the path towards your fundamental future and purpose of life? I want you to get a sense that actually there is so much more to be grateful for if you just pay attention to it. And I want you to travel down the pathway, collecting these diamonds, these moments of gratitude and experience along the way. And I don't know if it will be 10, 20, 30 or 40 years in the future, but I want you to imagine going down the pathway and accomplishing your life's purpose. I want you to get a sense that as magnificent as it is to experience that life's purpose, to have the biggest possible impact you could have, what made it all the more enjoyable are those moments along the pathway. And I want you to get an overall sense that this is simply a dream within a dream. And I want you to imagine that you're now back in that chair, in that magnificent garden, fast asleep, and realize that this is a dreamlike state, and actually, you're back where you really are, hearing my voice in your own ears in this moment in time. And in a few moments' time, I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, but you will awaken with these new realizations, new lessons, seeds that have been sown deep in your subconscious mind about how to really get a sense of cultivating a magnificent garden within your own mind. Getting a sense of your purpose, the direction that your life is heading. Realizing the importance of constant and never-ending improvement in those key areas of your life. You will awaken with a desire to cultivate willpower and discipline. You will awaken with a new respect and appreciation of time, choosing to make the most of your time, but also to have sufficient balance so you enjoy all of those moments that make life truly worth living. You will be able to experience joy by giving joy to other people. You will awaken with a duty, an overriding addiction to do kind things and to help others. And you will awaken even with a passion to pursue your meaningful purpose, but not sacrificing, enjoying the moments on the way. You will awaken feeling highly resourceful, highly motivated, with a new sense of clarity and direction, with a new appreciation of being able to master your mind, to focus your attention on those positive thoughts and the future that you want to create, with a new ingrained ability to take a negative thought and perhaps switch it to an opposite, more positive thought. You will awaken feeling highly resourceful, highly motivated, eager to take your life in a new direction, a direction of growth, prosperity, and impact on other people. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.